dropped out of that. They only brought two poor quality leads in and just was horrible. So,
and that's one of the things that we're going to discuss today. And just a little background about us, as far as, I mean,
because you don't know us.
well, but yeah, it's so far. Well, but I don't think they have any clue to how much money we spent at one time. So,
Right.
there was one year where we were spending $25,000 a month just on Zillow. So
Right.
we're talking, it was a $300,000 bill just for Zillow. That doesn't include some of the other stuff. So we were, I mean, so we've spent well over $2 million worth of lead generation. So are we qualified to be able to speak about the pros and the cons? I think so. And we know what works, what doesn't work. But the bigger thing is there's certain steps you have to put into place first. And one of the things that we wanted to do on this too is to make this one especially interactive, meaning there's a reason why people are going to probably be on this call is that they're either spending money on paid leads, or they're thinking about spending money on paid leads. And the hard part is you read a lot of reviews, or you go through and you talk to people, what has been their experience. And just, I'm gonna give one example, and then Kathy says I talk too much, which, as y'all know, is true. So I'm gonna have her go over the 3 things you need to do prior to paying for any leads. But when we were doing that with Zillow, they started messing with us. And we were spending $20,000 a month at the time. And so what we were doing is looking and I love to research. I love to research and dig deep. And so we started looking at realtor.com because the leads were a lot cheaper, things like that. And so rather than asking people about their experience, because you may be asking somebody who doesn't understand how to follow up a lead, or the fact that the lifespan of an internet lead is about 30 seconds. And I'm just being blunt with you. And so that's why these 3 things need to be put into place before you start spending money on leads. But getting back to that, we saw realtor.com, we could buy a lot more leads. So rather than just, hey, let's just buy a few leads and see what's happening, we put $7,000 a month immediately into it to see what kind of leads we're getting. And I will sit here and tell you that I think they're the biggest load of crap leads on the face of the earth. Realtor.com.
I've heard that about realtor.com.
And we got 20% of the leads that we were promised. I had in writing and everything. They were all vacant land or mobile homes. Mobile homes we can't sell. The majority of them were under $50,000. But that was also good for us to see that the quality of leads we were getting from Zillow.
Video. He sent me the video. When did he send you the video?
Not it.
So we were seeing that the value of Zillow was very good. So let's kind of get into so a lot of the media out there and tell me if you agree, is that if you go out there, you're going to see a lot of negativity about paying for leads. You're not generating your own business. You're renting your business, stuff like that. Who's heard all that noise? Okay. And one thing, and then I'm gonna let her go. So what is the one thing, the number one way to get business in real estate? Let's all agree on the best way to get business in real estate is what source?
Your sphere.
Your sphere.
Correct. And so your center of influence or your sphere of influence, and that's always going to be 75% of your business, and it's going to be the lifeblood of your business going forward. So what does it matter if you met them at an open house or had a paid lead where you did a Zillow and you got someone, you sell them something, that's now a sphere. They've gotten to know you. They've gotten to know your, how good you are, that you're, service-based or, service-oriented. And that's part of your sphere of influence. So what does it matter where you get that lead? And if you have to pay for a lead, are you renting business? I don't see it that way. I think I think paying for some leads is part of a well-balanced marketing and lead generation system. But don't do any lead generation until any paid lead generation until this is where the smarter person's going to take over the call. And I'm just going to be, I can't. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, all you people that we don't know. It's very exciting. Half of you guys are from Michigan, so we all know you. But anybody that's come on from other places, hello, this is Kathy and Dave. So obviously, and Dave will tell you, and we've probably done it wrong at times in our lives. You have to be able to have the money to spend on leads. Don't charge them on your credit card. Don't buy things you can't afford. This is not a, unheard of thing. There are things that you do, go into debt for your home, but that's pretty much it. You've got to be able to afford them. And if you're not doing enough business to afford the leads and you're just going to keep getting farther and farther behind, don't do it. It's crazy. I'm going to do these a little out of order from.
Let me just add one little thing to that. So
No.
the other part about the monetary aspect of this is that if you only have $500 for paid leads, my suggestion, put it somewhere else. Put it into maybe a geographical farm, a newsletter, things like that. You really do need to have a budget for paid leads. I mean, it doesn't need to be $25,000 a month or $20,000 a month. We are now, full disclosure, we're at $10,000 a month on Zillow. We have a partner that helps us with that as well, a banking partner. And then we use a system called Ylapo. If you've heard of Ylapo, we don't want to go through and do all the Facebook ads and the Google ads and the pay-per-clicks and do that campaign ourselves. So we have a company we work with that does that as well. Those leads end up averaging about $15 a lead. Zillow, back when we were, our Zillow leads have gone up to $1,000 a lead in places like Ann Arbor and some of these areas. So what we did strategically is now we're buying some of the less populated areas and we're getting a much higher rate of return. Jackson. So Jackson, our leads are under $100 a lead, and our ROI on that's about 300 to 400% right now. So the monetary part, yeah, you got to have the money to do it. Do not go into debt to do it. There's other more cost-effective ways of doing it. Not until you get a couple of bucks in your bank account, it's kind of like, okay, I want to invest in my business. Just like you're investing in a stock or something like that, you're investing back in your business. And so we spend on lead generation totally, I'd say it's somewhere around $25,000 a month still. But now it's wide variety. So that's just from a monetary standpoint. So once you have a couple grand, there's
a regular income of a couple grand coming in, because you don't buy them just once, you buy them every month, right? So you have to have that regular process.
Can I
the
say
question I would
something?
ask before we leave is going to be so if I've got a couple of grand, where should we throw that money?
Mhm.
And we will answer it. As you probably, I'm real shy, so I may not give you my opinion, but Kathy will. We will give you our opinion.
Okay, Angela.
Or Kathy, I have something too. It's interesting. When I started 13 some years ago, Zillow leads in our area, I did it for 2 years. I spent $275 a month, and I had like 45% of the market. I had a lender a banking partner. And then after that initial 2 years, they like quadrupled the amount, maybe even more than that. So I did exactly what you said, because I didn't have a couple $1,000s every month to do that. So I took that 275, and then from that point, I put it all into my sphere with, marketing, postcards, monthly postcards, reach outs, client events. So by doing that, I then built up my sphere. I never, excuse me, did go back to buying leads, just because in our area, $25,000 a month almost probably wouldn't even be enough because of the big players over here. But that's really great advice. Like if you have just that few $100s, do not put it into a lead source yet. Build your business, grow it until, like Kathy said, you have that consistency of a couple thousand at least a month to be able to do that. And I think a lot of new agents do get caught in that trap of, well, I have to buy leads. I don't have an income yet, and I am going to throw this on my credit card, and that's so scary and not a great
Right.
idea.
The number, let's, the number one mistake a realtor makes, and this is, it's not even up for discussion. The number one discussion realtors make is they go out and they pay money for all these leads of people they've never met in their life. And they've got they have this whole group of people they know who like and trust them that will do business with them, and they ignore them. And that's going to be, I've always said, your center of influence. And the first thing I tell people when they get new in the business, write down every single person you know that might buy or sell real estate from you in the future. And we've got a list of about 200 questions that will help jog your memory of who you might know, and then put them into a systematic, organized system. Hey, Lofty is $40. We use Follow Up Boss. But you want to make sure you have them and then you're hitting them. But people spend $10,000 a month on Zillow and they're totally ignoring their center of influence. And the amount of business you'll get from your C of I, much more than you'll ever get from spending 10,000.
And David, there are small communities like the one I'm in where buying all those leads don't pay off. You know, that it's just too small. So the sphere of influence and a good mailer, geographic mailer, well, you know, you might spend $2,000-3,000 on it, but you might get 2 listings too, you know. So it's just about the only game in town. I've tried everything else that, you know, and these are swinging down in our economy now a little bit. So in these vacation areas like I'm in, it goes on 20-year cycles. The old timers all tell you, you know, that it goes on tied to the income and the swings of it. So, yeah, so you got to be able to survive long lean times and then go through, you know, feast and famine, you know, like COVID, right after COVID, then we couldn't write contracts and fast enough, and now it's lean again. So you got to survive the down times, and the mailers are probably the best game in town right now. So,
and you have more of a niche market because you're basically a second home community. When Wordsmith shut down, you became a second home community. But that's also one of the things that I would consider is try to get that waterfront listing in Oscoda, Greenbush, Harrisville, Tawas, hold it open on a Sunday, because a lot of people are driving up north on the weekends. And that's how my family bought their original cottage. Was we were up in Ossineek and they saw a for sale sign, stopped, bought the place. So combine these different techniques together. But I would still have you, again, the thing about Zillow,
kick you soon.
The thing about Zillow is there's no way to get over the fact that 225 unique visitors per month go to Zillow. So if you can have some type of presence, and if you don't have the presence, then it makes it, I know when I go look for an agent in a certain area, the first thing I do is I go to Zillow, put the area in, find an agent. So, that's the only thing about Zillow, where if you've got some money to be on that thing, and it's less money to buy those Zillow leads in Oscoda, yours aren't $1,000 a piece like they are here. But here's a couple other things. Money's one thing, and then what's the second and third, which are
I'm gonna do them a little out of order from what Dave has. So now you've got leads. Your phone's ringing. You're getting things. Who's gonna take those leads? Are you gonna do them all by yourself? Are you a solo agent? How are you gonna handle that while you're doing an inspection? While you're doing all the other things, prepping for an open house, everything. Obviously, that phone rings, you're picking it up, right? That's huge. That's something we harp on everybody. I do. I pick up, if one of my agents doesn't pick up a call, it comes to me. So I pick up a lot of these things, which makes me a little nuts, but it's you're paying for it. Do something with it. So you got to figure out, what are you going to do if the leads actually start coming in? You're getting busier. We all know about that, our funnels and how we keep our pipeline moving when we all of a sudden now we're in inspection mode on a couple deals and nobody's following up on the leads. Right? So you've got to figure out how you're going to do that. And what that, in my mind, it's, are you going to do it? Are you going to get a virtual assistant? Are you going to have an ISA? Can you afford any of those people? Back to number one, can I afford to do this? Right? So once you have that in your head, what you're going to do, that's when number 3 comes into play is, what systems do you have? If you don't have a great CRM and you don't have your people segmented out properly into correct stages, lead sources and things like that, you're gonna run into trouble. And like Dave said, I think 30 seconds is kind of a very short window, but really top agents, I mean, you listen to some of the real agents that they get a kick, people get a kick out of, I got an email from you, I got a call from you, and I'm calling you right now while you're still talking to Zillow. The impact of that is huge. I have it happen. We have it happen in Wailopo. I'll get something in our Wailopo system, and people, of course, I'm pretty transparent about the fact that, yeah, we're stalking you, by the way, because I can see everything you're doing in Zillow or in Wailopo, what you're looking at, and they're still putzing around on my website, and I'm in there. I'm talking. It's like, hey, see, you're on our website. They're like, whoa, that's insane. How did you do that? I'm working hard for you. That's all there is to it. So how you're going to do it, who's going to do it, and then getting your system in place. I mean, there is nothing more important than a good CRM. And I will tell you, I was looking at a couple really good places to go look for how to use your CRMs. I think Lofty still has stuff on WorkVivo. There's another one of these masterminds. If you go to the same place you signed up for this one, there's a CRM person, and I had every intentions of looking her up before today, but using your CRM is probably one of the most important things you can learn to do. If you've got a team, I mean, like Beth, I don't know if you guys get a lot of training on you guys use Follow Up Boss, right?
We do. We use Follow Up Boss and Fellow.
Yeah, Fellows. Cool.
Yeah.
Fellows.
Yeah,
cool.
Fellow's great. For seller leads.
And all those things, like Zillow feeds right into Follow Up Boss now, way better than it used to. They couldn't make their own CRM, so they bought one, which is great. But that CRM is it's the most important thing. All your data, not just your new leads, but your sphere, old leads.
How are you going to
It's
follow?
craziness.
How are you going to follow up with those leads? Sharon says, how many communications do you have to have with somebody before you have that you can really get them to be quote unquote a client? 12 is what I remember correctly.
Sharon said 12.
12 conversations.
Last week in the Zillow meet, they were talking 16.
So how are you going to get that
Crazy.
person from that initial phone call? And I will say it's 30 seconds because buyers are ADD. They're going from website to website. They're flipping through. Most of the time it's on their phone. They'll go on to the next listing, the next realtor, and it's going to be whoever picks up that phone first. Okay. Now, the other part would be this is part of this is old school meets new school. Is if you are a solo agent, and first of all, be honest with you. If you got kids and you're going to activities and you're not going to pick up that phone for 30 minutes, a phone call, and then I don't know if paid leads really are the way to go. The other aspect of this too is if you're going to hire a buyer's agent and things like that we've sat across so many people that want to come on to DMA real estate, right? And we tell them, This is not rocket science. You have to do one thing only. Okay. How do you really want to grow a big business? Do you really want to do a lot of business? Oh, yeah, Dave, that's all I want to do. All you have to do is one thing. All you have to do is pick up the damn phone. And you're not even having to make outgoing calls. They're calling you. You just have to pick up the phone and have a conversation. Can you do that? Oh, come on. 95% of the people we get in front tell us that they're going to do it. They do not. That's just facts. I mean, people that I thought would crush it. I mean, absolutely incredible business people and things like that. They don't pick up the phone. They don't follow up. They make one attempt to contact people. Shame on us that we allow them to remain on the team, but be honest with yourself. Again, we're spending, again, when I'm spending $25,000 a month and you're not, all we're asking you to do is follow up and then put them into a CRM or into a system that will, hey, if you're not going to have AI do it, or if you're getting that phone call and you're not available, have AI respond to it by text message or things like that. Saying, hey, I'm in an appointment. I'll call you back in a couple of minutes. And that's where AI is wonderful. And I'm not a huge AI person. You've got to embrace it. But AI for follow-up is a game changer. Or to do an initial response. AI is to the point where you can't tell if it's me or AI anymore. So, Nick, I'm going to put you on the spot. You get a call, and it's a Zillow call, and what are you doing with that call? Let's say they say, hey, I want you to send me how many times are you touching them? Are you putting them into a CRM? What are you doing with that lead once you get that lead? Oop, you're muted. You're muted, Nick.
Forgot about that. Well, the first time, as you said, you got to call them immediately after that, but you got to have to listen to them and see how urgent they are, and try not to pester them, but to stay in touch with them. Keep contacting, reaching out to them, and that's usually every 2 or 3 days at the most for me. And reach out and touch with them, and some of them I've been communicating with for a couple of years. It's a long, drug out process because I'm in secondary vacation home markets, and most of them are waiting for that perfect opportunity, which you have to keep molding them. But I got to stay in contact with them. And to answer your question there, when you coming in and you're standing here talking to a customer, you can't take another call. But I've got 4 programmed messages in my phone, and I hit that right away and say, I'm with a customer. Can I call you back in 10, 15 minutes?
Perfect.
It does help.
And the key to all this is that funnel. And again,
Yep.
and I have that funnel in my brain, whereas in the way kind of so Google and your Facebook ads are going to probably be more top of funnel, and these are going to be leads that are going to be 6 months to 2 years. And I would put those, probably more like 12 months to 2 years. And then you're going to have your Zillow type leads. I won't even say realtor.com, but I'll say internet leads with like a Zillow. That's going to be more bottom of funnel to mid funnel. And then your C of I leads are going to be people that are going to buy within the next 1 to 3 months. And then anyone, I would just classify your people. They don't like us to do it in Follow Up Boss anymore, but I would classify them as A, B, C, D. A leads are going to be buying within the next 60 days. My B leads are going to probably be somewhere between 60 and 120 days. My C leads are going to be 6 months to a year. And then my D leads are going to be everything 12 months. And then you figure out, how do I hit these people between AI, making phone calls, but you need to have systems in place. And it took us a long time to build those systems. So,
Well, and then Zillow comes along and changes them for you. So that's very fun. Now I'm going to talk about other systems that went a little crazy today. Anyway, my big thing on this is, and Dave's doing his old school ABCD leads. In most of your CRMs now, you have the ability to actually put a tag or a process that says 0 to 3 months, 6 to 9 months. They're there. It's all there. And it's just how you choose to look at the people you have. Each one of your CRMs gives you the ability to pull a list of people you might want to reach out to, right? So I want to talk to everybody that's all of a sudden been on my site looking, they're a priority lead, and I've got them classified as, 9 to 12 months or past that. I want to figure out, okay, what you doing back in here? So I have a different set of conversations with those people. The other really cool thing, which is not really a buyer lead, but a seller situation, but it's kind of sort of a combo. Most of our people we know, people we've sold a house to, people that have asked any questions, we put them on a seller evaluation, home valuation, right? So I can look and I can say, okay, who are the sellers that are looking at their home valuation and are also looking at houses? That's kind of an interesting cross section of people. So using those segments and taking those leads that get piled in, paid or not, there's so many ways to look at it. It's crazy. So use everything you can in your CRM. Learn it like the back. They just threw Follow Up Boss just threw something else at us this last week, and I have to learn that still. So we'll get there. But and have them train you. But those leads, everyone that comes in has a good spot, has a good location.
The other thing to think about with, I think we should classify buyer leads and seller leads. Because I think a lot of people have always been told whoever has the listings wins, which is true. But one of the things I want to stress is that we get a lot of listings from those buyer leads where they are buying and selling at the same time. And so I think that's also where it's very, very, very important is what you kind of do on that first call. And again, what we're all about, you got to ask their big why. And I think that's very important. And it's the old adage that nobody cares what you know until they know you care. And so asking a lot of questions is really, really important. And again, the thing I struggle with, and Kathy knows better than anybody, is listening to comprehend rather than listening to respond. My biggest fault, bar none, is that right there. I've worked on it. I still suck, but I acknowledge it and work on it, right? But I'm always genuinely interested whoever I'm talking with. And I ask a lot of questions about them. And they will tell you everything they need to know. And many times it's because they want to move up. They're concerned because they've got 2.5%, 3% interest rate, but they're outsized of a house. They need to buy something more. Yeah, I totally get that. I'm in a 2.5% interest rate. I need to downsize. But I'm staying in my house too. Empathy. You understand where they're going through. You do care about them. They're not a dollar sign. And then they'll tell you everything because guess what? The 9 other people that they called didn't take the time to really get to know who they are. So I don't care how you get leads, whether they're paid leads or C of I, have conversations and ask about them. Why do they want to move? What about it, the areas and things like that? And we get, we're on a run where it's like 70% of the buyers now are selling their houses. The other part that I'm going to address, just because we didn't even address it, is the seller lead generation websites out there. We've tried a lot of them. We've tried offers.com. We've tried, we've done Fellow, which is kind of more geared toward, we went through the integration part, or just to try.
We wanted to.
But we have found that those really we did not get traction. And again, any lead generation system or any lead is only as good as the person working them. And maybe that's what the worst part was because I'm the listing agent, but we have found that there's much better ways to get seller leads. And one of our best ways is open houses. I get so many listings off open houses, it's ridiculous. And then these paid leads that we do for buyers is one of our greatest sources as well. And then the other part that we get a ton of our listings from is our C of I, but we do things a little bit differently as far as like, we don't do client appreciation parties. I think part of that's just because I'm an introvert, and I think that's, but here's what we do, and it's something that came from Sharon that I love. We find is that, just like Sharon did, is that 10% of the people in your center of influence send you 70% of your referral business. And we found that to be true as well. So what does Dave do? Hey, Janet, hey, I just want to really, I was just seeing how you're doing. How, you just moved into your apartment, things like that. Hey, let's go out tonight and have a dinner on DMA. I just, I've been thinking about you. I just want to get together with you. Hey, bring your sister who you referred to and her husband. Let's go out tonight and let's have a dinner on DMA. And we just have really good conversations with them. We show they care, but we do that more so than the client appreciation parties.
Pie days. Sorry, it's just not our style.
It's not our style, but that's the great thing about real estate is there's so many different ways to get business. What works for you? So, but seller leads, which we all want to get, let's hear your experiences on paid leads or what your best ways of getting seller leads are. And have you paid for seller leads that worked? Someone has to have seller lead response.
I've never paid for seller leads. I will say that really, other than that first 2 years, every seller lead I've had has been a referral from either a client or from like someone, from lender, from inspector, a neighbor. Like even if it was somebody I didn't work with specifically, it's been all referral based for seller leads since my first 2 years. I'll be honest, I didn't even know there was such a thing as buying seller leads until you just said that. That's kind of funny.
And what it is there's an algorithm that kind of predicts whether, that this person's been there for 7 years. The algorithm says we're predicting that they're going to do something next 6 months. Okay. And it's a lag as far as I'm concerned, which is a lucky ass guess. And they're trying to sell stuff. And they get one of the top producers. When we were at Keller Williams, it was the top producer at Keller Williams was promoting it. But I truly believe the best way to get seller leads is exactly that. Going through your center of influence, staying in contact with them. Again, the biggest mistake is people not keeping in contact with their agents. And the numbers bear that out as well. If you ask every buyer if what your experience was when at the end of the transaction, and would you do business with this person again? The percentages are 73% say it was a wonderful experience. I would absolutely use them again. Do you want to know what the percentage that actually does is? 12. And so I think that also brings in your CRM as far as, at Keller Williams, they had, the 36 touch where you hit someone 36 times a year, right? Or 33, sorry. We also use the golden rule. If you touched me 36 times, I would think it was kind of a spammy, drippy type of thing. And I would lose interest in it. So what we do is we try to touch them with something of value. Like we sponsor Pinckney players. And even though we know people are out of state or something like that, we'll send something out saying, hey, we're giving away tickets for Pinckney players. What that is just another touch. Hey, we're still in the business. We want, if you got family in here, let's do that. But we hit our people somewhere between four and 6 times a year, basically to say, we're still here. We're still there for you. I'll write personal notes. I mean, not personal handwritten, but I'll just go through our follow-up boss and say, hey, I was just thinking about you today. How's everything going up in Lapeer or something like that? And just something short like that. How are things going for you? And I get a 90% response back just from that. I was just thinking about you today. So I just wanted to, hey, how are things going? But so as far as who here is paying for leads right now or is thinking about doing it? Is there anybody here that is thinking about doing it or exploring that and wants to know about certain lead gen systems or anything like that as well?
So we're exploring it. We have someone on our team in the Virginia area who sent out a list. He has 39 different lead referral sources, and so we're kind of exploring it a little bit for some of our associates. And it sounds like from what you're saying, they don't have money, that they probably shouldn't be investing. I think that when I started my first year in real estate, I did use the OpCity. So I do recommend that they utilize something like that where they pay when they close so that because education, just in any business, you have to start off paying something. And they may complain a little bit about paying that 38%, 35% or whatever, but it is huge for education and it is huge for starting their business off the ground. As far as monthly amounts, I mean, I'm exploring those myself, but I'm really trying to get some of my associates generating some productivity.
The way you look at those is just they call them success fees. Is kind of what they call them. But
Mhm.
you're not putting any money out front. So those are, I think, well worth it. Like you said, from a training standpoint, they get a really good feel. They get a really good feel of what the process is like, starting with initial conversation with somebody, going through the whole process. I think it also helps you be able to help train them because it brings up questions of how you can help them convert. And then, no, 100%. And we're just full disclosure, Zillow's going to end up going to Flex. So I don't know how many people understand Flex or market-based pricing or things like that. Zillow's going to be going almost strictly 100% to Flex, meaning that it's going to be all success fee. And they charge a 40% success fee. And that's going to, so anyone that's doing market-based pricing, there's a very good chance that you may get that one of those letters saying, thank you very much for giving us all this money over the years. But you're done, you're gone, adios. And we're not even going to give you a watch or anything like that either. But it's going to be unceremoniously gone, canned. So just
So when
be
you say
aware that
flex, that means they're going to pay at closing?
correct.
Yes.
Flex is, and what's going to happen, it's going to be, if you know John Wentworth, who he's got all the Flex stuff in our area, even though he's up in Fenton. But yeah, they're gonna, but there's also caveats to being part of Flex is you have to run a certain amount of business through their title company, through Zillow loans. And so it's a double-edged sword as well. So if you're Zillow, if you're doing any Zillow, just be aware of that, and I've got people that I know I talked with that got one of those letters, and it's not great. John, what question do you have?
Going on. So I was right on the brink of going with similar to OpCity, but it's just realtor.com, which are kind of partners with OpCity also. But he was gonna sell me a bag of goods for it was like $215 a month plus $30, like a referral fee at closing. And I was like, I was kind of beating around the bush and asking some other people about that. I'm like, and I decided not to because I was like, you know what, that seems like a little bit extensive. What's your opinion?
How much more of money from that commission would you have than if you don't do it? So so when I think the success fees are the better way to go. Again, I prefer to do the market-based pricing because I don't have a lot of the stipulations that they have. But OpCity, like I said, we were paying monthly for Realtor.com, which is again, it's the market-based pricing of OpCity. I would definitely recommend doing the OpCity part where you're paying a success fee. So $215 a month isn't that much money, and if you can close something, you
But
know,
it was, you said $215 a month and you said $30 a deal. Did you mean
30%.
30%.
30%.
30% a deal.
And my thing is too is that I might have a W-2, so I'm calling me part-time, but I kind of do it full-time. But it's like I know I won't have the allotted time like a full-timer would have, you know. So that's my only kind of
Well, that's
concern
one
or
of the
drawback.
things we talked about earlier. If you're not going to be able to get to the leads immediately,
Right.
it's going to be sent to some. I mean, you know, the other part that I would find out is it only you that lead is going to, or is it going to 2 other agents as well? So like on HomeLight, if anyone uses HomeLight at all, we were the first agent that HomeLight used here in Ann Arbor, and they would send that out to 3 or 4 agents. And when I called, it was like, yeah, I've already had 3 calls, and I called like within 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's how OpCity is.
And you know, so the chances of that success, I mean, that's tough. Now, if you're the only person they're sending that lead to, and it's $215 a month and 30% referral fee all day long.
Right.
And
Right.
because what the number one thing we're trying to do is fill our database, our CRM with people. And again, you know, I'm not sure how OpCity has it set up. After you do business with them, whose client is it a year from now, 2 years from now? Are they
Right.
still trying to claim that as their own?
No,
I'd have to
it becomes your client. It becomes your client because
like-
I've had
Yeah.
several transactions with the same, you know, a couple of those clients that I started with in the beginning. So I've had
So as
several
a-
transactions, investors and so forth.
As of the end of last year, OpCity wasn't taking any new people. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. You couldn't even get into OpCity.
They are. I know this only
Opened up.
because a couple weeks ago I had an agent who wanted to join, and Real confirmed that OpCity is now back.
Is
to
back
people.
to taking new
Mhm.
people. I would guess.
You're
that,
right. They didn't for quite some time.
No, you couldn't even get into the mix, but maybe people have left it. And
that's
so.
the caveat about when we're talking about, do you have the money to be able to do it? That was a great bringing that up, John, too, is that with the success fee of OpCity, if you don't have a whole lot of money to your name, that's kind of the way to go, where you're only paying is if you close something. So, and that's why HomeLight was good for us. And then they started doing a bunch of stuff that we didn't want to be part of. And then just being, you know, as a cattle call to get to them. But there are several companies where you pay a success fee, and you're probably reviewing those, Beth, right?
I am going through that list to see
29 of them.
what they have to offer, so that I can share that with my team.
And also with what Beth just said, I believe is like if the leads from Realtor.com that I was mentioning are seller leads, and so if you sell it and they still have to buy, there's no referral on the buy side. So that's kind of a win in that regard.
Yeah,
Right.
like I said, I automatically have a pretty bad taste for Realtor.com based on my experience with the company. And it was just absolutely horrible. It was probably my worst experience with a vendor in my 32 years. I would never, to the point where they had someone follow up with me because I left a nasty review. And the gal actually she's very brave and called me, and I told her exactly what I felt about the product and said that, you know what, it could be a really good product, but the part I don't like about Realtor or OpCity, and maybe you have a different experience, is there was no customer care person that was assigned to me. All I would get, the only calls I would get from Realtor.com or whatever would be for solicitations to buy more stuff. Whereas Zillow, I have someone that I can call if I have a problem. That really truly is part of our success is the people that we've had with Zillow. And so if I have a problem, I can go directly to them and they'll take care of it. And so that was worth it for me to pay a little bit more money. The quality of leads were 10 times better. It wasn't even close. But if you can find companies, hey, business is business, and 60%, as opposed to, I write a $10,000 check every month, whether we sell anything or not. Okay, so everything comes down to ROI, and one of the big things we have is you have to run. This is a business. This is not a job. This is a business. And the one thing I learned from Keller Williams, the one thing from Gary Keller is red light, green light. And I'm going to really quickly, if any of you are Keller Williamites, red light, green light. What that is green light is try something. Okay, hey, John, try Obsidian thing and see how long the contract is. Do it for 6 months, and then if you're not getting a positive ROI, red light. It's done. So what you want to do is everything should be red light, green light. You are running this as a business. It is, again, if you're not getting a positive ROI, why would you continue to do it?
That's the other thing. That was they wanted me to sign a 1-year contract for $215 with 30%, referral. So I was like, that might be a little steep, especially if I don't get anything out of it in the first 5, 6, 7 months.
Yeah,
They're all negotiable. Hate to tell you. You ask them, I'm only going to do 6 months. They all want to sell something too.
Yep. So we did the 1 year too, just because, but we did the 1 year because, well, we had 1 year contract with realtors.
Yeah, we did that when everybody got pissed off at Zillow, remember?
Yeah. Yeah. But the 1 year was good for us because I like to see the information. I like to see the stats. And before I tell someone they suck, I gave them 12 months and we did the leads and we checked it, everything. And it was not a good, worthwhile investment. So we stopped doing realtor 100%. And I personally would not try Opcity because I know it's the same company. And that's how bad experience it was for me. Zillow, I'll do all day long. And the reason, real quick about Zillow, the reason we use Zillow is think about the business plan that they developed. They took our leads, they took our listings, put them on their site, built a better site than anyone else could build, right? And then for free, they took our leads for free and sold them back to us. And we paid them money to take leads off our listings that NAR could have done with Realtor.com. But what does that tell you? What's the difference between NAR and Realtor.com and Zillow? Zillow hired smarter, better people. They built a better mousetrap, right? Who do you want to be in business with? Do you want to be in business with the dumb effers, or do you want to be in business with the brightest and the best? I want to be in the business with the brightest and the best, period. So why do and she loves the Jesse James quote. Why? They asked Jesse James, why do you rob banks? Guess what the answer is?
Come on, you guys, anybody from Michigan, turn this 30 times.
Why do, yeah.
Because that's where the money is.
That's where the money is. So why do we spend money at Zillow? The Darth Vader of real estate? Because 225 million visitors per month. You cannot duplicate that anywhere else. And they're smart, and they do our leads from them. We have a 10% success rate, kill rate on a Zillow lead. The numbers on a regular internet lead are 1%. Google, Facebook are probably 1%. We have 10% with Zillow.
So the problem is here in the little community like this one, that zip code's already sold out. They only have 2 agents here, and you can't buy it in at any price.
Just so you know, I don't know if everybody understands what Zillow leads go through, the process that happens. Way back when we were spending $25,000 and, was pre-COVID, every call you took, we got literally direct calls. They came straight to you. It was a direct call. Nobody on Zillow talked to them. Now these leads that you're getting, and you'll notice some of them they give up on and they call them nurture calls. These people are getting called by Zillow. They might click in, they might call. They continue to call them for 6 months before somebody raises their hand and says, yes, I'm ready to talk to an agent. So they up to 6 months. And if it goes past 6 months, you get what's called a nurture lead and they toss them to you. Now that's the bonus of, I don't know if anybody deals with the real-time touring leads. The real-time touring lead, they haven't been talked to. Nobody talked to them. So nobody's explained anything to them either, mind you. They hit a button, say, I want to see this house at 2:00 this afternoon. So do they show up half the time? But is that like a faster conversion than the one that's been going through Zillow forever? It's hard to say. I mean, but either which one, it's still up to you to make that conversion and conversation, right? Dave said something about finding their big why. And I don't think people have just one big why anymore. So you've got that conversation you're having. This is all I talk to my buyer's agents about is, are you having conversations? Or are you just saying, do you want to go see a house? Are you pre-approved? You've got to have sincere, complete conversations. And anybody that can, if I know Sharon's not around anymore to do this, go back and watch everything he's ever done. If you're new, just go back even as a refresher and listen to Sharon talk about conversations and conversion. Put it on like extra slow when you listen to his stuff, but it's just his brain is different than ours, all of us.
And that might be really good for you, Nick, because you are in an area that you don't have the option for going for a powerhouse lead, right? So you probably have to think outside of the box with trying to find a different lead source that would work in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think Nick, you're in a unique area. And if I was, we talked about this a little bit because I remember
Right.
when we first talked about Zillow leads, there was a lot available, and I kind of,
Right.
being the cocky SOB that I am, I said I just come in and I buy it all up, and I would just farm out the leads and things like that. But I would geographical farming in that area, and I would focus on the waterfront houses as well.
Right.
And I get 2 of those mailings a year, one from an REO, a real estate one agent, one from a Heritage House or something. But I get those, but I don't like the quality of what they send me. And to me, because I know the quality we put out for our stuff, and then it just looks like it was mimeographed on a thing and they stapled it, and which, well, I'm showing my age.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like there was a lot of effort. So if I saw a professional one that came through of the 3, I would say, this is my person. And so just as an FYI, but yeah, geographical farming there. And then the other part that I would be doing is I would be doing some Facebook. You're on Facebook, Facebook ads and you just use some keywords. We can help you with that as well. One thing I want to piggyback on what she said about that Zillow lead, where you saw the amount of time that they nurture that lead and get to the point where they give it to you. Think about how much that would cost you in both money if you hired an ISA or a VA to do that, or your own personal time to get it to the point where they were ready for that phone call. Because we've done it, and it's a lot of time and money. And that's one of the reasons why we do the Zillow leads, because we convert those very, very well. In our ROI on that is about 200%.
Time they get to you there, true.
Have you used anything else like Veterans United or Redfin or Ojo or?
So Redfin is they've already got agents in our areas, and so they've got the ones where they actually go through, and we don't really want to be part of the Redfin. I mean, it's a brokerage too. So, and now that they're partnered with Rocket Mortgage, that's another caveat, because I have my own personal opinions about Rocket Mortgage as well. And so we have not Mavato or
Maboto?
Movado Ojo, yeah.
yeah, Ojo, yeah.
Can
Which
I
was
jump in real
a
quick again? I'm sorry, Dave.
yeah.
I feel like you. Um, So Veterans United, I can speak to that.
Right.
We actually have a local agent here. There's a couple other within Real in Michigan that use them. They limit how many of their agents can be part of that program, which is why I think it's very successful. Cami in our area that you guys know, she started maybe 2 or 3 months ago. She's already closed two more on the books to close in the next couple weeks and has more on the docket. A lot of those leads, might take a little bit longer, a lot of them a little bit lower price point, but if that's one you can get into, I would recommend it. And I would say, coming from the broker perspective, when you mentioned Redfin, so when you have referral agreements for lead sources, there are a lot of lead sources that are no longer approved through Real. So before you sign anything, it needs to be sent to me, and then I will see if it's on our approved list. If it is, it'll get signed. If not, I have to send it out. So just know that those sources are different. But that Veterans United, at least the 3 agents I know who are part of that, you have to be really well vetted to be part of it, but they've been very successful. So,
Two
Okay,
things.
good. As a veteran, I was very interested in it. I checked out the other veteran program, but they
yeah,
don't give you any leads. They just want you to pay an amount. Homes for
right.
Heroes. Homes for
Yeah.
Heroes.
Yeah.
They,
Oh,
they
that
just
is,
want you to pay an amount just so you
yeah.
can advertise that you're part of it.
I'm with,
Oh,
like Dave talking about some of the other places, Homes for Heroes. I wouldn't line my trash can. I've heard
yeah.
a lot of
If you-
horror
if-
stories about them.
Two things right here. If you are not from Michigan and you have a lead source you want to connect with, please talk to your broker. We have
Hmm.
a broker here in Michigan. Second is, how does Veterans United, do you have to use their lender? Is that what that's all about? Is it connected with the lender, Veterans United? You muted
Well,
that.
Yep, I'm muted. It is, I do, well, now that you say that, I
Because
don't
I
know if it's
would run my.
connected, but it might be with USAA. Is that what it is? It might be,
USAA is a good veterans lender.
yes, because I feel like,
United, you can pretty much bank on 4 extra weeks.
yes, I feel like with Cami, that's who she said it was, at least with her most recent one. So, yeah.
and Beth, do you guys have anyone that's part of Real Military?
Uh,
Premier in Michigan?
no, so I've been talking to Dan Kennedy in the Lansing area because he's part of the 10-7. He's also a
Yep,
veteran like
yep.
myself. And I met with the veteran group when I was at Rise last year. So,
I would get part of Real Military, and I think that will also give you a heads up on that. And it's another part. See you later. It's another thing that I would have on your docket, being part of Real Military. So I think that would really help you, and especially if you said you're part of Real Military and trying to get into some of these military relocations companies, I would definitely have that. Hey, we're part of Real Military as well.
okay.
Is there any other questions that anybody has? The other question I have is, what's some information you would like for future episodes that we talk about? We have a wide ranging, for those that don't know us, we've been in business for 32 years. We've sold about 5,500 homes and about 1.5 billion, forming teams, things like that. What would be topics that you would like us to talk about? As you can tell, we're not shy about talking about anything. So just what would be things that would be helpful for you? Can you think of anything off the top of your head?
You can't reach out to
Well, I
us
think
on
different
where.
niches. I think different niches is really a great topic. Right now, I've been kind of working with the seniors, a lot of seniors, kind of niching on that. There's just a lot who do not have help. I'm also part of the Professional Women in Building in the Lansing area, and we have a lot of people on that committee that have little businesses, handyman businesses and so forth that can help the seniors get to where they need to be and will take payment at closing. So,
I would like to brainstorm with you one-on-one on that too, because that's my niche that my preferred niche of people I like working with are my age and above. I'm 60. My age and above is
I
my
started
favorite.
it out, yep.
What was that?
Yep, 50.
Yeah,
I
that's
started it out with people that I retired with, and then I said, a lot of people are at the prime of their career, like in their late 40s and 50s, and their parents, they don't have time to help their parents, but they need to move them. And then on top of that, parents are stubborn. And so they've asked me to help them uh, kind of help with the process. And then, they go from very stubborn and they get to the acceptance phase. It's really getting to that phase and moving forward with it. So it's a little more time consuming, but I just do it, I fill it in different times of my week, during my week, like an hour a week, and I meet, stop by, and eventually they just start accepting the whole process. And then now I'm working with a cabinet bath and kitchen place, and she actually does, the folks there have this training where they set homes up for aging in the home. So we're collaborating together, meeting with her on Monday. We're collaborating together because they can go either way. Either they want to set it up so that they can stay in their home, or they want to set up their child's home, their walkout basement or whatever, so that they have the right bars. But they make it because a lot of the children don't want these metal bars all over the place. And they have these really nice features with their corner shelves and different features that are just built into the decor of the home. And they know what things that elderly need, like the handles rather than the knobs, different things like that. Um, and they make it very nice, so that they're not just putting metal bars up all over the place.
I think that's something we should get a group together and have like a regular time that we meet and talk about it, because that's by far and away my favorite segment. And it does take a lot more time, but to me, it's always a lot more rewarding, especially when you're able to be able to facilitate, especially when you got people, the daughters and the sons are out of state, and we coordinate everything because we'll handle everything here. We'll, whatever we need to do, and by far and away my favorite segment.
Yeah, honestly, and we have like old people come to Ann Arbor. They come back.
Mm.
Well, any place you have a good health system, right?
Right. Yeah.
You come back, they want to be here. They come back here or they never leave. I'm trying desperately to get some people out of their houses, but they don't leave. The Ann Arbor's huge senior population.
Yep.
Huge senior population. Nobody really focuses on it. I just sold a condo to my 85-year-old clients. I will tell you, you better be patient if they want to use technology. They were actually pretty good at it. It's just that the other people on the other end, they assumed a mortgage. You can imagine these 85-year-old people assumed a 2.85% mortgage.
Nice.
But we're quick enough to understand, why would I pay cash when I can do this? Right. So I thought it was pretty cool, but they're referring me to their old people friends.
We treat them like they're our mother and father, and that's the great part about it is, we were all raised, is we held everyone that was older than us with the utmost respect, and we held them on a pinnacle, and that's the way it should be. In so much of our.
How old do I have to get?
Well, that's true. Well, you're too sassy for anyways. But yeah, I would love to mastermind with you on that, Beth. And again, I'm sure a lot of people here probably would too.
Anna,
So
where are you from?
What's that?
Where's Anna? She mentioned that she thought this was great stuff. Just curious where she's from.
Rhode Island.
Oh,
Fantastic.
we're open in Rhode Island.
And licensed in Connecticut, Massachusetts as well.
Oh,
Fantastic.
And I just found you guys, and I'm so happy that I did.
Well, we're going to be here every week. What would be something you would like to know about, Anna, that we might be able to contribute some good information for you? Is there anything that you can think of?
Well, I have just transitioned to becoming a full-time realtor after 35 years in market research. And so I feel like I'm a sponge. Just want to absorb your best tips and what you've gleaned in your experience. But I've loved this dialogue, and it has been very helpful to help me even know the questions to ask, right? As I'm considering a potential lead source, what do I even ask them? I mean, ChatGPT, they're pretty good, but they're only as good as the information that they can access. Nothing.
We've had, and always feel free to reach out to us directly. You don't need to wait for our weekly call. Feel free to reach out to us directly, and you can Google us and you'll find it all over the place. And
Us or work, you can find anybody in Work Vivo.
but yeah, and Work Vivo, and just send us a message if you want to run a source bias. The chances are we've looked into it, tested it, or things like that. But any information we can give you. That's the great thing about Real Brokers. We are just one big old family. It's one Real. I'm one of 12 kids, so it was a natural progression for me to. This is just a little bit 30,000. We just went over 30,000 today, so we've got 30,000 member family now. That's what attracted us to Real. Was we're all in this together. Period. So whatever we can do to facilitate, we're here for you. All right.
Thank you so much.
And Anna, if you are looking for on-site meetings, we have quite a few agents on the western side of Massachusetts, as well as I can give you a couple agents that are really great. Yes, and they do a lot of events.
Good. Thank you,
So
Elizabeth.
if you want to touch base with them to attend some of those events.
It's Premier Group's absolutely incredible. Their leader is a guy named David Keener that's just out of this world, nice guy, smarter, real smart, and just one really good person. And someone you definitely would like to know.
In your area.
For sure. Yep.
And they're called the Premier Group, Elizabeth?
Yes, if you put your email in the chat, I can send you a couple of the names out there.
Okay.
That you can link up with that will help you with some of the tools and so forth. And, you can attend some of the meetings that will, I know how small those New England states are. So just crossing over into Massachusetts is probably not much.
You're right. And
I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And you're probably facing a lot of people out in Rhode Island who want to stay in place too. I know my family and friends out in Massachusetts. They complain about the costs, but they don't want to move.
Yes. Very true.
Well, great, everybody. Well, I appreciate everyone getting on. And then if you ever have suggestions about things that we would talk about, shoot them our way. And even more so is, like we said, is that if you have questions about anything, just reach out to us directly, and you'll get a response right away. Our pet peeve is people that we try to contact and it takes forever to get back. That's my pet peeve. So anyone that's worked with me when I was the broker, whenever you contacted me, you probably got annoyed because I got back too quickly. And same with Kathy. That's the way we prefer to communicate, is just immediately, because when someone needs you or wants some information, they want it now, not tomorrow or the next day. And that's
because we're too old to remember the next day.
That's like when I give her stuff, because I have to give it to her immediately, because if I don't, I'll forget. And so it's Kathy. I gotta get this off my plate. Off my plate.
All right.
It was wonderful with everyone. Hey, Nick, have a wonderful time up in Oscoda, and let's take over Oscoda one day.
Yeah.
The big boy's up for sale again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. It's going to be a challenge selling it because of environmental concerns. But
that's what I heard. I heard about that. So, all right, everyone, have a great day.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.